Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Startup Greece Talks. Today I have with me Michail from VoucherSpace. And before I welcome you, I just want to let everyone know that this is the last episode of this season, so I'm planning on making it dope. So, hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. Since it's the last episode of the series, I hope we can make it worth it. So I'm really looking forward to it.
We're gonna make it amazing. And to be honest, yesterday that you were talking to me about VoucherSpace, I was pretty interested in learning even more because I have used in the past something that was resembling your solution, but it seems as if you're putting some more innovation and some more tech-oriented aspects in it. So, what is VoucherSpace? Who are you? Why are you here? Why did you start it?
Great. I'm Michail Potamitis. I'm originally from Zakynthos and I'm a law undergraduate student. Being from Zakynthos, it's a small island. So my background mainly came from the industry of tourism.
Mm,
Growing up, I didn't have much to do with technology.
mm,
But later on, I started getting my hands dirty on some books.
mm,
I didn't really like literature, so all my books, all the kind of books I read came from finance and
mm,
business. And I eventually, at 17, I started reading about startups.
mm,
I had first success stories in Greece around startups were just taking place.
mhm,
So I found it very fascinating. Eventually, I got to law school, as I said, and that's when my passion really started developing a passion. I read more and more books. At some point, by the time I got to the second year, I thought that it was a good time for me to take theory into practice. And I
mm.
had the dilemma either getting more theory, more knowledge, or making it happen, building something. And so I decided to build VoucherSpace, which was an idea that I had formed about 2 years prior. And a few months ago, we made it happen, and here we are now.
Okay, perfect. That sounds very close to, let's say, my story because we're both coming from islands in the Ionian Sea, and the truth is that people here are mostly focusing on the tourism industry, still not utilizing technology as much as they can. And definitely not really taking time to build any innovative tech solutions because everything is much more easily made when you work with tourism because you know that every year you're going to have the same um,
Exactly.
incoming tourists. So, what is voucher space and how did the idea just come up?
So I'll answer the second question first. The idea came up totally randomly. I was out having a coffee with my grandfather, and he's a very elegant person. He likes to take care of himself despite his age. He likes to dress well.
Yeah.
So he's not the type of person that's going to think about spending 5 extra or 10 extra euros. Uh, what made an impression to me was that he had just gained an individual voucher, an individual discount. This discount, I think, had his name on, so it made him feel special.
Mm,
And I saw that he had the urge to redeem the voucher, even though at the time I don't think he even needed anything. He wanted to redeem the voucher because it made him feel special.
yeah.
So at this point, I thought that it was a great move from the side of the business. The way they made him feel special and they gave him a voucher to redeem. I thought it was great, and I
Type of,
had a eureka.
what
Sorry,
type of business was it? Pardon.
it was a clothing store.
Perfect.
Just a regular clothing store. Yeah, and he eventually made the purchase, even though he didn't need anything. So
Mm,
I thought this could be a business model eventually. I could make something of this idea, which was an idea that was typically used, but not on the technical, technological side. So I thought we could figure something out. And through this was the concept stage. I started working it in my head for almost a year and a half, having doubts whether it was going to work or no. So I decided that I couldn't answer all the questions. I couldn't know
on
whether
your
it was going to go no. So that's how we built an MVP, a first version of our idea of our product. And now we are at a more advanced version. So I think I can explain now what VoucherSpace actually is.
Yes,
It's
yes.
a web platform, yeah, a web application in which users can have a list of businesses,
Mm.
specifically at the moment, beauty salons and clothing stores. They can see these stores and they can get exclusive discounts. So let me give you an example just to make it easier to understand. Let's say you're in the market looking for a new nail studio or a new boutique. VoucherSpace, exactly. VoucherSpace can help you with that. It can show you a list with the kind of stores you are looking for. You
Yeah,
can see images of the stores, all the contact information, their address,
yeah.
their phone number, perhaps their website. And you can also get the exclusive discounts that they've created for the users of VoucherSpace.
Mm.
That's the main product. However, we wanted to make it a bit more playful and more friendly for our users.
Mm-hmm.
So we also added what we call the vouchers. The vouchers are individual discounts. They have a higher discount, so they're a premium form. And each week, our users are entitled to one free voucher. So every 7 days, a person that has signed up to VoucherSpace can get back, type some information very quickly, and get one extra voucher. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for explaining it to me. So I understand that you started this on your own, but then you said we thought. So
Mhm.
how long ago did this start?
So initially, it started like 5 months ago. We built the MVP 5 months ago,
Mhm.
and I knew it was going to be hard, but then didn't really realize that it was going to be 10 times harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So I realized from the get-go that I needed someone that could help me emotionally, but on the workload as well.
Mhm.
So that's when my first co-founder and best friend came along, Adonis. So we ran our MVP for approximately 2 to 3 months. We got
Mhm.
our first users and our first partners, our first customers.
Mm.
And then we decided to go all in. And we realized that the technical aspect of it is just as important as the business and the product management. So we then brought in two technical co-founders that we really trust and have a great connection with. So that's where we currently are.
Okay, okay, perfect. So I understand what VoucherSpace does, and to be honest, I would be more than glad to try it myself and see how it works and give you feedback. Question
Of
is,
course.
do do people do you think that people understand what the problem solved is? So if you could phrase,
Mhm.
and you can take time to think about it because it's hard to phrase this thing. If you could phrase the problem that it solves in the end of the day, how would you phrase it?
So there's a B2B side to it and a B2C side to it. First of all, the B2B side is the inability and the difficulties that businesses go through in order to promote themselves.
Yeah.
They spend money in order to make a beautiful store, in order to build a niche shop,
Yeah.
and they have to spend additional budgets on social media or other platforms to constantly, promote themselves.
Yeah.
We tried to, lower the customer acquisition cost for them and build the infrastructure in which they can promote themselves and they can give an easy access to users in order to find them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem on the side of the businesses. In the other aspect of it, in the B2C side, it's a problem that I even went through when when I first came to university. I was trying to find a barber shop and I had to go through Google Maps and see unprofessional photos that, anyone could post. So I had a hard time there. So it in the B2C side, it makes a situation that isn't perfect, makes it much easier for the user, and also gives discounts, which I think we all love.
Yeah. So it's you could say that you're bringing beauty slash self-care. Can I say
At the
that?
moment, clothing stores and beauty salons, yeah.
Okay, beauty salons and clothing stores in one place.
Mhm.
And you are also incorporating the a more easy, let's say, approach or usage of the vouchers. So you're technically combining both of these things. So you're making it easy for people to find these sorts of companies. And at the same time, you're offering vouchers which people feel special about using or that everyone wants actually.
Exactly, yeah. So you will have a modern UI. You put some filters. If you want to look for a nail studio, as I said, you put the nail studio as the target category, and we show you all the nail studios we have partnered up with. You see beautiful photos, you see all the contact information, as I said, and you get, yeah, the discounts. And there are two versions of the discounts, the normal ones and the vouchers. So you can get your hands on both.
Perfect, got it. So you make money out of the businesses that are part of their marketplace, right?
Right. We didn't want to charge users. We want to be as user friendly as possible. So our only revenue source comes from the businesses.
Great. Okay. Perfect. So it's technically a B2B and you're not planning on making it subscription model for users.
No. We want to be as user friendly. We want to keep it that way. Obviously, I cannot predict how it's going to go, but I think we're going to try as hard as we can to keep it this way.
I think that the more approachable it is for starters, the easier it's going to be for people to try it. So the quicker the experimentation is, the faster the experimentation is, and the quicker you get feedback, the more you can see where you can generate different sorts of revenue. For example, you could do some kinds of subscription model for a premium version of it, where
Exactly.
where there's more personalized suggestions, or where the data collected is suggesting some specific salons or specific clothing stores or these sorts of things. Great. Okay. And if I would ask, if you could tell me, which would you suggest that is the best customer persona for you? So who would you rather approach to make him your client?
So our customers, we consider more the businesses. So I guess that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, what types of businesses are they? Would you say that they're what is the headcount, for example? How many people are working in these businesses? Are they known businesses? Are they not so known businesses? So what is the traits of the businesses that you're looking for to collaborate with?
So as I said, the main problem is that we want to lower the customer acquisition cost, and we want to appeal to the mass, to a greater number of businesses.
Okay.
So I'd say primarily SMEs. That does not mean that we wouldn't like to collaborate with leading brands. It would be an honor for us, obviously, but our main focus is on helping a larger amount of customers. However, the market is so big because we don't rely on specific products or services. We rely on the business itself. So we want to filter out in some way. Therefore, we have some way to filter out some businesses. We partner up with businesses that have ratings of 4 stars, of at least 4 stars.
Okay.
Yeah. So
reviews, right?
yes, exactly.
Perfect. Okay. So you're bringing in good players when it comes to customer satisfaction.
Yeah, we want to keep our users happy, and that's a good way to ensure that.
Okay, good. Have you gotten any feedback for the pricing that you already have for the is it actually a monthly subscription for these companies? Is it a yearly subscription? What is it like?
So our culture is that we have a extreme focus on the customer and on the feedback we get from them. Initially, our thought was to be a traditional marketplace and charge our customers based on commissions on a percentage they get from the sales that we provide for them. Soon enough, we understood that businesses were very suspicious when it came to giving access to their sales. They considered that the profit margin was rather small on that business model. So very quickly, we adopted a new business model, and we charge them on monthly subscriptions. Yes.
Okay. So just like you told me yesterday, you don't book appointments through your platform. You just make sure that you connect the company and the user, and from there they take it to themselves, right?
We don't book appointments. Yes, we don't take orders for them. We want to make the process as simple as possible, both from the technological side and the social side as well.
Okay, great. Okay. Are they happy with the pricing?
So far, I think so, yes. As I said, we've lowered significantly the customer acquisition cost,
Mm-hmm.
given the fact that most businesses say that it's rather a low price.
Mm-hmm.
But given the fact that we are a very early startup,
Mm-hmm.
we consider that the feedback we could get from them, even at the lower price, is just as significant.
Great. Okay, thank you. So from what you've seen up to this day, and from the data that you have collected and the research that you have made, would you say that this market is growing? Would you say that it has seen some sort of downfall during COVID, or maybe it went uphill during COVID? How is it currently? How has it been?
So the market of online advertising and promotion platforms is growing both globally, but especially in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great market on a global scale. I think last year it crossed a milestone of 600 billion. In Greece, it's somewhere from 850 million to 875 million. And it has an annual rate from, I think it's last year was 7.5%. And it's predicted to raise at approximately 6 to 7% until 2027. So we could say that it's a
These are good
stably
projections. Yeah.
market. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you. So I understand that you are planning on focusing on the Greek market for starters, but are you planning on going abroad also?
So our greater goal at this stage is to obviously find product market fit. The global in itself is great in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And finding product market fit on its own is a hard process. It may take 2 years, may take 3 or 5 years. So our main focus is on that at the moment. Should this goal be met, I think we would love to go to other countries. We've seen many Greek startups do so. So I don't find a reason not to do it.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But as I said, the main focus at the moment is in the Greek market.
Great. Okay. Have you made any connections with stores abroad or not yet?
Not yet. No, we have not made any.
I think it's going to be a really good idea to do so because truth is that in Greece, beauty and clothing in general are, especially beauty, it's much more affordable than in other countries. So if you go to Germany, for example, to have a haircut, prices are completely different. I can tell you that for sure. I went to Switzerland one time in January and one time in March, and I wanted to do my nails in March, and I went to a beauty salon, and I think it was something around 100 Swiss francs for a manicure. And in
That
Greece,
means we could charge way more. So that's a good idea,
exactly,
perhaps.
that was my point. So, my point is that these kinds of markets that especially beauties is so much differently priced than Greece. Maybe it's a good opportunity for you.
I'll note it down. I'll keep it in mind. It's a good idea, actually.
Mm-hmm, perfect. Okay. So, you told me that you started around 2 years ago?
I know we started the concept, the idea came about 3 years ago. We started, our MVP was launched, I think 5 months ago.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so it's been 3 years in your head, 5 years, 5 months on actual paper building the MVP. How do you see it going within the next 3 to 5 years?
So I'd like to think that we can have a great user base and grow our user base. That's our main goal. It's something that makes sense to users. So when we first launched our MVP, it was not great. It was far from great. The design was not there. The functionalities were missing. So users were still using it organically. We didn't do any paid ads, but still users would get the voucher. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't even show pictures of the stores at the time. The new version is far more advanced. There's still much progress to be made, but even our friends, our families are using it. So it makes sense to the people. It's harder to approach businesses, obviously, because they are the paying customers.
Yeah.
But should the numbers of the users be there, I believe that we could make significant progress when it comes to the business side as well, bring more customers in and grow our customer base. So in the next 2 to 3 years, I think we can have some significant changes and significant progress. Should we also raise some resources and have
Yeah.
access to more resources, of course.
To more resources. Yeah, makes perfect sense. I have a question that I'm gonna ask in a little bit because it just came in mind. But
Right.
so, are there other companies or startups? Let me phrase it better. I'm sure that there's indirect competition because you're technically advertising.
Right.
But do you have direct competitors that are doing the same thing that you are doing, either here or abroad?
We've done some significant competition research. We have not yet identified any direct competitors. As you said, most of our competitors are indirect. So yeah, especially in Greece, there is no direct competition.
Why do you think that is?
That we don't have any direct competition.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good question, actually. I've never thought of it.
Yeah, it just popped up. I mean, why? It sounds like it's pretty user-friendly, gives everyone what they want.
I believe that I generally believe that simple is greatness. I think that we are not doing something that is way too advanced. So we've seen
No,
e-commerce platforms.
it's pretty simplistic and minimal,
I
and
know, I get
it's
that.
solving something very, common as a problem.
From the feedback we've had from businesses mainly, we've seen some platforms that book appointments, for example, or that they e-commerce platforms, which in most cases to the businesses seem too complex. Our goal was to make the procedure as easy as possible, and so we give the advantage of easily posting through a dashboard, giving the ability for businesses to post images and photos of themselves, and we directly through an API show them to the users. So technologically, we try to make it as easy as possible, which on our side was not easy, but we tried to make it easy for the businesses through algorithms. Not that it couldn't be done by others, but for some reason I have not yet understood it hasn't. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but for the moment, it's good for us. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And when it comes to the competition, competitive advantage that you offer, I understand that what you consider as the competitive advantage is that you are you're providing a very easy to follow process, and you're also pretty focused on the market that you have picked. So you're not spread all over. You say that we do this. We do beauty salons and we do apparel, clothing.
Exactly. So as you said, the market is rather large. So we could easily, address to other business categories. But as I said earlier on, we don't focus on competition that much.
Yeah.
Our extreme focus is on the customer in general. So any changes, any new features comes from the feedback that we get from the customers. And we want to focus on specific areas so that we can address the problem in a smaller circle. So that was the idea. And as I said, the business model itself, the pricing plan was a result of constant feedback that we got from businesses.
And since we're talking about money, are you currently in a round? Are you planning on raising? Are you bootstrapping and thinking of keeping on bootstrapping? How is it going to work out?
So the process that we wanted to follow was to first build an MVP just to get a proof of concept, and then build a more advanced version of it and get the initial traction on. So we did both objectives. We've completed these stages. So I think that now we are at the stage where we want to take it at scale, build better distribution and a better product, of course. And I think it's a great time for us to, get our first round on. We made a valuation. I don't know if it's worth mentioning.
Of course.
And so we made 640,000 post-money valuation, and we are looking for 80,000 euros at the time.
80,000. Good. And are you currently in an incubator? Are you getting mentorship from maybe in Thessaloniki? Are you?
So we're pretty unlucky on that because all the incubators and the accelerators took place. The deadline was until January and February, and we had been on the market for almost a month or 1 month and a half. So we had almost zero traction, no experience, no feedback from customers. So the timing was not really there. But I think now we are much more prepared. We have a much better team, a more composed team, and a very stronger product than we did. So I think that we have our eye on that for the future, for the near future. So if anything pop-ups, we will be more than glad to take place.
Yeah, and I also wanted to tell you that there's, especially in Thessaloniki, I'm sure that you know that the incubation and startup ecosystem are really, really active. So they're actively searching for startups and they're actively offering mentorship. You can definitely get into an acceleration program, and through that you can get funding. So it's something that's with the state that you're currently in, I don't think that it's very hard to do.
I think so, but we try to be selective at the same time because I think accelerators and incubators are great, but I don't think they fit to all startups. So we try to be selective when it comes to picking the right one and getting in touch with the right people. So I think that's very important as well.
So, is there anything that you would like to share that makes sense for anyone who would be interested in investing?
I think that it's very important to mention. I don't recall mentioning it. So I'd like to say that we are 4 co-founders, me, myself, and 3 more co-founders. We are 2 on the product management side and the sales X business side. And we have 2 technical co-founders, Thodoris, Polychronis, and Adonis, my co-founders. And so we can, get our hands on the most important aspect of it. However, I believe that a startup, in order to be successful and to make an impact, it has to innovate both on the technology and business side, but also on the distribution. So this is where we want to focus at the moment. We believe that we've made a good version of our product. It can serve both customers, businesses, and users. But we also want to enhance our distribution and the way we get to the customer and the user. So that's where we are currently going to focus, and that's how we would potentially use some of our resources.
How are you planning on allocating the funds in order to make optimize the process as much as possible?
So yeah, I would say that obviously customer service, of course, we want to enhance that because that's something that we truly believe in VoucherSpace. It all comes down to happy customers. But other than that, of course, the distribution, as I said, would love to make a podcast, perhaps like you do. I love them. So yeah, that's one of our plans as well.
Perfect. I can help you with that. I can tell you everything that's difficult in the process.
Of course. I was planning on saying that after our conversation.
Perfect. Great. Okay. So are you maybe thinking of opening up some new places in the company?
Yes, obviously. So as I said, our focus will be on the distribution, on the marketing. So we're definitely going to need some great personnel on the marketing side. Anyone that can bring in fresh ideas that we couldn't perhaps come up with, it will be much appreciated. So yeah.
Great. Okay, perfect. So from my end, there are some questions popping up, but overall, I think that I have everything that I have written down that I want to ask. So from this point on, I think we can just have a more open conversation, which I really wanted to do today, and I'm happy that we made it.
Great.
So first, I want to ask you if there's anything else that you would like to share with regards to VoucherSpace.
So truth is that I think we've got through most of the aspects that we could discuss on this podcast. Any question you can come up with, I'll be glad to hear. I think something may pop up at this moment. You know, my brain.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for the next one. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna go for the next one. How important do you think your team is, and the way you not only the way you complement each other, but the way your skills complement each other, but most importantly, the communication. How important do you think it is for something to go from place A to place B? Because most of us, me, myself, so I have figured out that team is the hardest thing to construct. So what's your opinion on that?
So I'm just gonna go by numbers. In order to find, Abnis was my best friend. He was a no-brainer. But in order to find the two new, and I didn't bring him in just because he's my best friend. I trust his ability. He was someone that I knew in advance. In order to find two technical co-founders, my philosophy, and that's an advice I saw from an interview with Steve Jobs. My philosophy was to go for the A players. So I would first try to bring in the best of the best. If I could not do that, then I would, go to slightly less experienced or less skillful technical co-founders. In order to do that, we went through 74 interviews. So 74 people wanted to come in VoucherSpace. We had initial talks. We had to go through this process for about 2 months in order to find the right people that immediately clicked. So I think it's in order to do the greatest job you can, that's my experience at least, you have to, dig deep. And that's what we did. And that's why I believe so much in our team. And as you said, it's not only the complementary skills, the technical skills that everybody brings on the table, it's the ability to make people align with the idea and the core base of the product. And that's not an easy thing to do. It takes great communications, communication skills, it takes intellect, and it takes people to have a deeper vision. So let's say, for example, a technical co-founder is not there just to write code, which is something that most people can easily do. It's far more than that. It's bringing in new ideas, solutions that a business co-founder may not come up with. So it's a long process. But that's the beauty of it as well, I believe.
I'm gonna go a little bit to your personal experience with all of this. It's not common that people your age care about doing something. What makes creating something from scratch? What makes creating a business appealing to you? Why are you staying awake, working, doing all of these things?
So I recently got asked a similar question. The question I got asked was, now that you know what it takes, would you do it again? And I hesitated for a moment. I probably would, but I would think about it twice. First of all, when I studied, it was the lack of knowledge. Now that I think of it, you have to go through so much. You have to go through logistics, finding a name, finding a logo. You have to find the right team, as I said, which is the toughest process. You have to find the first customers. And at that point, you are a nobody. You come up with the idea, you come up with a minimum viable product. Finding an initial proof of concept is very tough. But I never think of myself as a person that's 20-year-old and, this is not of my age. I think it's a calling. I see it more as a calling. So that's why I studied it, and that's what keeps us going. Because day by day, I believe that having a good team that pushes you and makes you better, I think that's a blessing, not something that's.
And you just gave me a good reason to have another question, which is going to be the last one. Afterwards, I'm going to wrap it up. What is your calling? What makes you work on VoucherSpace and not olive oil, making olive oil?
Oh, so first of all, I wish I could give you a full, complete answer. That's not something that I think a 20-year-old could do. But for the moment, and for my experience and knowledge, which is tiny, but for all I know, is that making something unique, it gives us, or me personally, it gives a feeling of importance. When you start, before you start, you mainly do it for the money. That's the truth.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
you think I'm going to build something cool, people are going to use it,
exactly.
you're going to make a lot of it. But when you start doing it, it's not that important. You understand that it's not that important. It's helping people solve the problem. And that's why we're so focused on the problem and not the solution. Getting users, getting to know and meet new people, all the experiences, and you see people use your product. Someone is interested, someone might not be interested. What are we going to prove? What are we going to change? New feature we're going to add. All this process,
Exactly.
the adventure,
Exactly.
is something that I
It's
really cherish.
perfect. It's the perfect. Thank you. It's a trip.
Exactly.
It's a trip. Yeah. So, my dear Michail, I think I couldn't have enjoyed it more. So, I want to thank you for sharing all of this with me. And I want to tell everyone that they should definitely get in touch with you or me for Voucher Space. Any feedback is welcome. Any ideas are welcome. And I wish that we have the chance to do this again.